Before you consider making this, I'd like you to consider that, just like with any grappling hook, there's a chance of falling. And that's why I discourage anyone from trying this at home. But before you call me a hypocrite, I'd just like to show you guys that I have above average climbing skills and falling skills. That keeps me safe. Now, for those of you who want to do it anyway, I present to you the grappling hook arrow tutorial. The first step is to make a grappling hook. This grappling hook is made from 3 precisely bent nails. The nails are all 6 inches long and 1/4 of an inch wide. To get that nice, consistent bend, all you need to do is get a vise and a piece of pipe, heat up the nail where you want to bend it, and then tap it with a hammer. Let's speed up the process. Now when you get to about here, you're going to need to turn the vise on its side and put the pipe on top of the vise. And I strongly recommend a glove because the blowtorch can definitely heat up the pipe, so it could get hot. We're almost there, but we still have to cut the end off. I also recommend hardening the metal, especially around where it's going to be supporting weight, just all around the curve. Do this by heating it up with the blowtorch one last time. And then douse it in a container of water. Now just repeat those steps and make 2 more. Next comes welding them together. Now, I can't be extremely helpful when it comes to welding because I'm actually very new to welding, so I don't think I'm really qualified to teach welding. But one of the things I found helpful while I was welding them together was the way I kept them together while I was welding. I did this with a small paper clip. I just took the 3 pieces of metal, I made a little twist tie with it, and then I just kept making it tight with needle nose pliers. I don't think that would be something a pro would do, but it definitely did the job. The next step is to figure out what you're going to use to attach a rope to the grappling hook you just made. My original idea was to take some paracord, tie it around the hook, and make a loop on the ends, and then tie my rope to that. Although at the time, I thought paracord was going to be suitable for the job. It just wasn't. For the rope at least. It did the job for holding the accessory cord rope, which more on that later. But I can confidently say that the weakest point of this design is where the accessory cord is tied to the paracord. If it breaks, that's probably going to be where it breaks. So what I recommend doing is taking an eye bolt and welding that to your grappling hook. And that's going to be a lot stronger, and the entire design is going to be able to hold much more weight. And then of course just tape it to the arrow. I used electrical tape and that works well, but I'm sure that's not the only tape that will work. Next I'd like to talk about what type of arrows to use. Pretty much any arrow will work, although I advise against using store-bought arrows, mainly because all of them seem to have a clear plastic knock at the end of it. That's the clip that goes onto the string. Anyway, the thing about clear plastic is it shatters easily. And during a number of my projects, I've had that problem, where the entire arrow was still intact, except for the knock at the end. And for that reason, I recommend using homemade arrows. That's going to be an upcoming video as well. Now, lots of people on YouTube have made homemade arrows before, but none of them were completely to my liking. So, naturally, I decided to experiment with various materials that I can use to make homemade arrows. And I'm putting my all into it, and I hope it makes a great video. When it's out, there will be a link on your screen. The next step is figuring out what you're going to need for rope. If you're just using it as a standard grappling hook, then standard rope will do just fine, but as a grappling hook arrow, you're definitely going to need a strong, light rope. My advice, don't use paracord. I tried so many different ways to get paracord to work, and it just didn't. Not that it would snap, it would just stretch so much that it would pinch my foot, and like I would start to take a step on it, and then the entire rope would stretch to the floor and my foot would be on the floor. It was ridiculous. But I've got an alternative for you. The stuff I used in the video is called Accessory Cord. I don't know why they call it that, but this stuff you can climb. All I really did was take the entire length, take half, kind of like that, and tie a series of overhand knots to make little loops, and then just add just about 4 inches extra pulled on one side and then 4 on the other side. Now, just because accessory cord is incredibly strong, I certainly would not say it's safe to climb. This is actually for several reasons, of which you can read about in detail on my website, link in description. But first I'd like to point out one of the main reasons. After several uses, I realized that the shingles were rubbing away part of the string and it was causing obvious wear, as you can see right here. Now, this was only after about 10 uses. If I tested this thing heavily, I'm sure it would snap. But still, they did a great job in inventing this, and there's still not a product that even comes close to it. Which brings us to the last step, which is to figure out how you're going to attach the string to the end of the arrow. Why is that important? Because if the string is just hanging on the end here, then it creates more drag right at this point, and it's just going to go straight into the ground. So it needs to be attached to the back. But then, what if you get it in a tree branch, or on anything really, and the hook attaches in a way that the arrow doesn't go straight down? Well, if you've got something permanent on here, then the shaft is just going to snap. That's no good. So, my solution is to just use masking tape. Because that way, if it's ever in a tree branch at an angle like this, it'll just snap. I'm not going to do it right now because I don't want to retape it. But you guys all know what will happen. The string is just going to come down here, and the shaft is going to be intact, and then you can just take your roll of masking tape and reuse it whenever you need to. So where can I buy this magical string that's so strong for its size? Well, you can get it on Amazon. It's not expensive at all. It's cheaper than paracord. I don't know why they don't make this stuff into bracelets, because they really should. It's a lot better than paracord in a lot of different ways. Maybe just the name is weird. Maybe if it had a cooler name it would sell more. I'm not sure. But it's great stuff. So what did you guys think of the new background music? It's made by a friend of mine. He goes by the artist name Toy. And if you like this stuff, then there's a link in the description to where you can buy his music. And if you enjoyed that music, I really recommend that you buy some, because he worked hard on those songs and he deserves it. He did me a big favor by letting me use them in this video. That was nice of him. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and if you want to see more of my stuff, you can click on any of these guns and it'll take you to a random video of mine. That's it, guys. Peace out.